As we commemorate International Literacy Day on the 8th of September 2024, the theme promoting literacy for a world in transition, building the foundation for sustainable and peaceful societies, it is essential to consider the significance of literacy in influencing the future of South Africa. Literacy transcends the mere skills of reading and writing. It serves as the foundation for informed citizenship, sustainable development and peace. Given South Africa's intricate historical context, literacy plays a crucial role in the nation's pursuit of a more just and thriving society. And for more on this, we now speak to Komala Pillay, CEO of Citizens Leader Lab, for more on this conversation. Komala, thank you so much for your time this evening, ma'am. Of course, as we mark World Literacy Day, one would ask, how significant is literacy for influencing the future of our country?
Hi, Mbali. Thank you for having me on this evening. And absolutely, literacy is an absolutely critical topic for us to be conversing on. So UNESCO started World Literacy Day in 1967, and the whole aim behind with World Literacy Day is to remind governments, educators, and the general public of the critical nature and importance of literacy. UNESCO even went so far as to proclaim literacy as a basic human right. I don't think this is too extreme, because one just needs to look at the nature of employment today, at the nature of knowledge acquisition, to understand why this is indeed a basic human right. No child can be successful without the ability to read. So it is absolutely critical for our economy, it's critical for our young people to be successful.
And talking about the state of the economy, I mean, how can literacy interventions, drive economic growth and also reduce the inequalities that we are faced with in our country?
So there's something that, if you work in schools, you'll hear quite often. They talk about the foundation phase for a child at school. It's all about learning to read. And as they move to higher grades, it shifts to reading to learn. And, as I said just now, the way knowledge is acquired currently in this digital age, a child needs access to literacy to be able to tap into the knowledge that is accessible. And there's a lot of knowledge available online, we all know it. And you need to have that basic skill to be able to sift through this information and then upskill yourself, enhance yourself to be successful. And the moment we deny children of this opportunity to learn, to read, we close multiple doors to this young man, to this young mind. Children then have limited options in terms of employment. They have limited options in terms of creating employment. So it's really imperative in Bali that we keep the doors open for young minds to learn this skill so that they can be contributing members of society as adults.
And talking about young minds, I mean, in South Africa, we have a very unique problem where our literacy levels are quite low. Where do we even start with improving the literacy levels in our country so that we are building, like you're saying, a better society?
So I think first and foremost, we have to acknowledge that we have a crisis when it comes to reading. Every 5 years, we do this international benchmark assessment of our reading capability. And in the last assessment of PIRLS, it was shown that 8 out of 10 of our grade 4 learners can't read for meaning in any language. This is a crisis. How can we possibly be investing in children's education and after 4 years of learning, they're not able to read for meaning? So, it has to be prioritized. It has to be something that is top of mind for all of us. And I think what's also important, and because we have so many issues in our country, the solutions seem out of our reach, out of our grasp. And I want to leave your viewers this evening with this message that we can solve this problem. If we look at the progress that has been made globally, so I shared with you that UNESCO started this World Literacy Day in 1967, and over the last 57 years, there's been significant progress in the world's population ability to read. So they went from 68% in 1979 to 86% of the world can read today. That's an 18% improvement over 45 years. And in real times, that's close to 4 billion people who are literate today and weren't literate 50 years ago. So this improvement is possible. And as we as South Africans, we have to focus on what we can do. I've worked with absolutely incredibly dedicated and motivated school principals who are working hard to solve the literacy challenge in their schools. There's fantastic research being done into effective pedagogies and tools for African languages. There's a lot of investment from the private sector. There's a lot of great work being done. I think what we need to do, though, what's missing, is a more aligned and coordinated approach between everyone in the system. We in private and civil society need to better align our efforts with those of the government. And we need to help everyone understand this priority, not just for our children, but for the future of our country.
Maybe let's also take, a step back. I mean, I hear you speaking about mother tongue languages and perhaps, to try and fix the problems we are faced with today in terms of literacy problems. Where did it go wrong? And where did South Africa go wrong in terms of having such very low literacy levels?
So it's a complex situation in Bali. The reality is that a lot of what we're dealing with is a legacy of our past. A legacy of the system of education that was enforced upon our people, specifically with the intent to keep the level of learning at the low level. It's been 30 years since apartheid, and lots of people will tell me we should have solved all the problems, but it's not that simple. We are dealing with endemic issues. We're dealing with, not understanding fully how to teach African languages to children. This is not an excuse in Bali. There's no excuse. We have to work hard, but we do have to recognize that there's a legacy that we're dealing with. And when when a school is serving a community that is dealing with poverty, dealing with the socioeconomic challenges that, we heard just now in the news, if you've got high unemployment, you've got gangsterism, crime, you've got violence, there's a lot going on that child needs to overcome to be successful. So the best that we can do is recognize that we have these challenges and work together holistically aligned to start to shift the dial on this big challenge.
And maybe let's talk about literacy programs and, the importance of inclusive literacy programs, particularly when it comes to, rural areas and just those living in underdeveloped communities. How important is it?
It is critical. If you look at our unemployment rate, and you asked earlier about our, the economic impact. If you look at the provinces with the highest unemployment rates, these are the outlying provinces, the rural provinces that don't have access to the resources that some of the big centers have. So absolutely, it's critical. If we want to get all South Africans economically engaged, we need to look at areas, parts of our country where historically we haven't been spending funding. It's unfortunately true. Most resources go to schools in areas that are easily accessible to funders, that are easily accessible to NGOs. And we need to change that. We need to bring equity to all our people.
All right. Komala, thank you so much for your time.